A frightening incident at a New York City restaurant as smoke billows around a crowd of diners. Surveillance cameras capturing footage of this man popping out of an emergency subway hatch and throwing a smoke canister before disappearing back underground.
Because of what's going on, it's scary. It's nerve-wracking.
The attack raising questions about the city's ability to secure its extensive underground subway system.
All right, folks. I mean, that is just insane. You just saw it. Joining us now is Bernard Kerik, former New York City Police Commissioner and interim Minister of the Interior of Iraq. Hello, Bernie. Good to see you again.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
I'm great. All right. I mean, this is one example, but let's focus on this for a second here. You know, with all the threats of ISIS and the enhanced security, I mean, that this guy comes out of a subway grate, a sidewalk grate that leads to the subway, throws a smoke bomb, he could have thrown anything, and then disappears back underground. I mean, if it was a test or even if it was a prank, it sends a message to possible terrorists.
Yeah, I have to tell you, for one, I think it was a prank. Two, this isn't something that we have normally seen in the past. I think the police department, the transit police, will be looking at it. This is somebody that had to know that area pretty well, and you know, I think it's going to be looked at, but it's pretty strange.
Very strange. And, you know, along with the guys who changed the flags on the Brooklyn Bridge, and then they finally found who they were. And I kind of chuckle, Bernie, and believe me, there's no bigger supporter of the police than me. I just think things have to be changed, and I'd love to hear your opinion. But I hear Charles Schumer hold a press conference yesterday that these trespassing laws, that's the problem. We need to change the trespassing penalty from a year in prison or whatever to 5 years. Oh, that'll make the terrorists think twice if they were ever going to like climb to the top of the bridge and put a bomb up there. I mean, that's not the answer. The answer has to be enhanced security so they can't get to the top of the bridge. They can't get to the top of the New World Trade Center like that 16-year-old kid did. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't think enhancing the trespassing laws and penalties is going to stop anybody that's dead set on attacking this country or creating death and destruction. If they're going to go out there and plant a bomb or they're going to do something deadly, a 1-year sentence or a 5-year sentence isn't going to make a difference to them. I also think that you're going to have people out there that get locked up for some prank, you know, with a mandatory minimum of 5 years. It's pretty stupid. So I don't agree with that. I do think that we have to follow up on securing the soft targets, our critical infrastructure. We have to look at the different surveillance systems that we're using today, and there's intelligent video, and there's a bunch of stuff that we could be using that we may not be using, be it in New York City, at the bridges and tunnels, be it at the White House. There's a bunch of stuff that we could be doing that we're not doing.
How is that? I won't say how's it possible, because there's always better security that's possible. There's always live and learn, reaction to new circumstances. But you know, why, when we're hearing from everyone in Washington that's willing to say it, that the threat is greater now than before 9/11? Dick Cheney just said it again the other day, and elected officials, some of them are saying it. Then you wonder, well, how did a guy get inside the White House? And how are these guys climbing to the top of the Brooklyn Bridge? And how is a guy, you know, in the subway? Is it just that, well, the subway's a little more remote and as you said, a little stranger. But how does a guy get into the White House in this day and age with all that's going on?
Steve, I got to be honest. You know, these are bad incidents. They've been focused on a lot. But, you know, realistically, you have to keep it in perspective. They're not the norm. Overall, Secret Service does a tremendous job. I think your earlier speaker talked about a 50-year history of, you know, tremendous service to the country.
Yeah, Dan Bongino, yeah.
But, you know, once in a while, you know, things happen. I think that the breaches at the White House have to be looked at. And the threats, I believe personally, the threats on the president today are much more severe than they were in the past. On Barack Obama himself, I think there's a 400% increase on the threats that he has faced versus other presidents. That's him standing alone. And then you have all of the new ISIS stuff, or ISIL, or any one of these groups that's talking about bringing these fighters that's over there now, getting them to come back to the States, giving direction to people in the States to attack our political figures, the media, the police, all these new assertions coming out of ISIL. The threats are much more substantial today, so we have to be prepared for them. And that's going to be preemptive, proactive planning, strategic planning, and an enormous amount of security that, for the most part, we do. But it just has to be as good as we can possibly get.
And Bernie, we got a minute left. That new warning from the FBI that ISIS is being told to attack media members and police, law enforcement. How serious a threat is that, do you believe?
I think it's serious. I don't think anybody should take it for granted that it's not serious. I think this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. And I think the state and local law enforcement officials around the country, they should be looking at these threats as seriously as possible.
Gotcha. Bernie Kerik, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, Bernard Kerik, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll be back with columnist and senior online editor for Commentary Magazine, Jonathan Tobin, right after the break. But first, are you looking to get the most out of your food? Well, I am. Everybody is. This next Max to Health moment features dietitian Ryan Smith with information on 3 superfoods for a better brain. Watch this.
You see the commercials all the time. Sign up for the airline credit card and get a free round-trip fare, plus miles and more. It sounds enticing, but are these cards worth it?
It all depends on how frequent of a flyer you are and whether you can concentrate all your flying on one airline. You know, if you are a very frequent flyer, 2-3 times a month, and you fly one airline all the time, you can become what airlines call elite. They'll give you upgrades and they'll start giving you bonus miles, and then you get those miles even more quickly. But if you're somebody who doesn't fly all that frequently, then paying an extra $20, $30, $40 to try to fly a certain airline and get miles just to hope to get that $200 free ticket eventually, save the money and just pay for that ticket.
Before signing up for the airline credit card, compare the annual fee and interest rate to other cards. And if they're reasonable, make sure the airline offers easy travel options to the cities you like to visit. Also, check the point structure for ticket redemption, and if the